So today, guys, I'm going to be showing you a build that I think is probably one of the better builds to use for the final manhunt boss fight against the recruiter. And the reason why is because that recruiter likes to one tap you or take away all your armor with one shot with his sniper. But with this build, you're able to sustain that and still put out damage. Now, there's a few things you need to know about this boss before we even get into the build, because if you don't know the mechanics, you might struggle. Recommend pushing far left when you first get into the area where you fight the boss. Now, you should have maybe 1 or 2 enemies come up behind you. So just focus on those guys first and then drop them. If you're sitting in this corner right here, you should be able to hit the weak point. The first weak point is going to be right above you. Now, if you notice, I'm already getting bonus armor from this weak point. That's what's cool about this build, and you'll see how I break it down in a second. The second weak point is going to be directly to the opposite side, so you can avoid shooting these guys, because every area you go to hit the weak points, there's kind of like some cover. So if you notice, I'm just kind of sitting right here in the corner. The main guys at the very beginning, I didn't even have to worry about. So remember, there are 4 weak points you need to destroy. 1 on the far left, you come all the way to the far right, and then you run back in, and then there's going to be 1. You'll see the little diamond highlight them. But yeah, you can hit the far left, go to the far right. Make sure you're hitting the point where it's the heart, where you're getting the most damage. If you notice there's like that big circle, focus on that. That's where you want to be doing it. Boom. And there. That's all 4 weak points. Look at the amount of bonus armor I have with this build. And it's great. I don't have to even worry about having no armor on, right? Now I can take my time. I can pop an armor kit. And that's why the build that I'm going to show you guys, I believe, works really good. Not only that, guys, I'm running this on a 1000 shade level account. Very low level, doesn't have expertise hardly on anything. So just want you guys to know that. And what I'm doing is I'm just working my way around. Now, I did have the defender drone and the shield, but I noticed I wasn't really using the shield. So I ended up swapping to the decoy. Now, once you finish all 4 weak points, what you want to do is shoot at the boss. It's going to say immune, immune, immune. And then Birdie's going to come on the radio, and she said she's going to deactivate the network. And then you'll get a little countdown at the top, right? Now, once that network goes down, your skills are going to be gone, but his skills are going to be gone too. And what that means is then you can actually put damage to him. And this is where I recommend using a weapon like the Scorpio or something like that that can stop him from shooting. You see, it just says immune if you shoot him now. But in 4 seconds, you'll get stunned. He'll get stunned. And then you know, all right, I know what to do now. You see? So at this point is when you can actually do damage to him. Ideally, you want to, like, I actually move back to the very beginning and wait for him. He's going to rush you, so just give it a little bit of time. As long as you stay in this back corner, if you want to stay on the left, if you want to stay on the right, it's really up to you. But he will start making his way to the center or start pushing you. And that's when you can kind of move back, do more damage. Ideally, if you can get to an area where you have a big crate in front of you and he comes closer, you'll see in a second, I'll show you that. But again, all you have to do is do damage. Once you do enough damage to him, it's going to trigger his defender drone to come back up, and then Birdie will also have to deactivate the network. She will deactivate the network 3 times, and that is how you defeat him, right? So same thing, just the same. You see, once I do enough damage, I have a guy behind me. The hardest part about this is you don't know how much armor you have left, right? You don't see your armor, especially when the network is down. So you never know if you have that bonus armor or not. You can know when your armor breaks, as you saw there, but again, you never really know how much armor you have down. But yeah, this build right here is the build that, to me, I've done this a few times already. This is the first time I beat it on stream with everybody, but this is the build that seems to work very good. And again, once you do enough damage, she's gonna deactivate the network again, and then you're gonna just wanna make sure you get into a good spot. The great thing about this build to me, honestly, was really the extra bonus armor I was getting. Like, if I did take any damage, I knew I had a chunk of bonus armor that I wouldn't have to worry about popping another med kit, as med kits are very limited in this. Now you're gonna see the network will go down again. And then what does that mean? Boom. Now I can attack them. Again, you don't know how much bonus armor you have, so you always have to keep track of that. So at this point, you see how close I am? This is where the Scorpio is going to shine. As I said, you should be able to proc his second defense in just a second. Look at that. a few shots with the Scorpio, he already used his defender drone. And then again, Birdie's gonna say, I gotta take down the network one more time, and this will be the final time. So she will do it 3 times. You'll break his armor, and then obviously that is the full mechanics. It's nothing too crazy. I know it seems like hard at first. I think if you're running like an all red striker build, you might struggle a little because of how hard he hits. But yeah, if you use something with a little bit more armor that can give you a little bit of bonus armor, this actually helps out a lot. Recommendation is, if you're waiting for that timer to come down, focus on the other guys for a little bit. Like what I was doing is I wasn't in too much of a rush. Like I was focusing these guys. The great thing about it is the boss is going to be very aggressive. So he will push you in just a few. Takes a little bit, but he will. So you see he's on the right side. I know he's on the right. So I'm just going to take out these guys right here. So don't be too aggressive if you feel like you're struggling. Hey, just wait a little bit. Just wait a little bit right here. You're going to see I'm worried about these 2 guys. I was like, all right, I'll take these 2 guys out first, and then I'll worry about the boss. So we got one more here. And you can see I definitely getting bonus armor, which is kind of cool. And then now I know the boss is right in front of me. He pushed up, Scorpio. And then all you have to do is break his final 2 armor pieces, which should be 1 reload of the Scorpio. Boom. And then that's it. What you'll notice is when you know you defeated him, the recruiter will get a full armor bar back, right? So he has 100% armor bar, and then that's it. You can clear the area if you want. The main thing is you're just going to have to escape the area, and that's it. It's very simple to do from here, but that's technically the build right there. At this point, all you need to do is leave, right? Like you just clear these areas, and it says clear the area. That's it. You can't do any more damage to him, so don't even try. And then you just have to leave. You see, so it's just going to be immune. The thing says clear the area, go to the diamond, and that's all. But I know now what you guys want to know is how is this build set up? Let's get into it. So I was running a Heartbreaker build. Now, why is this build good for the boss, especially the recruiter boss in that area? Well, I'll tell you why, and it's because of what the Heartbreaker does, right? The 2-piece, yes, it gives you assault rifle damage and LMG damage, 15%. The 3-piece gives you that weapon handling, allows you to, hit those shots a little bit easier. And the 4-piece is really where this build shines. And you can see that with the Heart Stopper talent, right? It says headshots apply pulse to 5 seconds. You just have to be able to pulse the enemy. So if you use a link laser pointer, like I'm using because I'm using the technician class, or if you use pulse, either way works. Weapon hits on pulsed enemies adds a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% weapon damage to pulsed enemies, up to a max of 50 stacks. So that's 2 stacks are lost each second. Now, what's great about this is you can start to build these stacks pretty quick. And even with running the Kingbreaker, you start to like slowly get that armor up. And what's amazing about it is it even works against weak points and stuff like that. And that's what you probably saw in the gameplay, right? I was building a stack. Now, why is this good? Well, in this fight, you'll start to take shots from enemies from the back. You'll start to take enemy shots from the boss. And the boss can one-shot you. But if you have a ton of bonus armor, he's just going to eat through that bonus armor. So what we'll do here is I'll show you how I have this one set up. So with the mask, we went with the Coyote mask. And this is going to give us weapon damage, critical hit chance, critical hit damage, critical hit chance, mod. And then we have Pack Instincts. So anything 0 to 15 meters, we're getting 25% extra critical damage. Anything from 15 to 25%, we're getting 10% crit chance and 10% crit damage. We're not really hitting anything after 25 meters, so pretty much the ones that we're keeping an eye on are the 0 to 15 and 15 to 25. So we are running a 4-piece Heartbreaker set, and we are running the chest piece. We have armor on here, we have critical damage, and we have a critical hit chance mod. And the reason we went with the chest piece is because the chest piece, it's going to increase max stacks from the Heartstopper from 50 to 100. So now, and we can get up to 100% extra bonus armor and 100% extra weapon damage. And we're sitting at 1.4 million, so we'll be at 2.8 million, right? Just with running the chest piece. Now we're running the holster, the Grupo holster, and this is gonna give us 15% critical damage, weapon damage, crit chance, critical damage. If you want a little bit more survivability, you could put something like the Bacaro's holster, which will give you armor roll and it would give you a weapon damage roll. But I wanted to go with something that's gonna give me more damage, so I went with the Grupo holster. For our knee pads, we went with the Heartbreaker knee pads, and that's going to give us armor and critical hit damage. For the gloves, we went with the Heartbreaker gloves. It's going to give us armor and critical hit damage. Now, you might have guessed it, we are going with the backpack, and the backpack gives us armor, critical damage, critical hit chance mod. And what does the backpack do that's so good? It increases total bonus armor gain per stack from the Heartstopper from 1% to 2%. So you can have 200% extra bonus armor, which is amazing and allows you to stack that armor a lot quicker. And that's what's actually really good about this. And if you could build a huge chunk of your thing, even if you get shot by that boss, you'll still survive and you can continue on. And personally, that's why I like this one, and that's why I used it against this boss. And most of these pieces you can get pretty easy and shouldn't have any trouble. Now, some skills I used, I like the decoy. I think the decoy was great. I drop it and then I would run away. And then we had the ballistic shield, which allows me to kind of face tank the boss in those areas that I need to. So ballistic shield, and then obviously a decoy was kind of the skills I went with. For the weapons, we have the Kingbreaker. We only have 12% expertise on here, so it's not pretty crazy. Remember, this is my PC account, so it's not fully maxed out. We have assault rifle, health damage, damage targets out of cover. And then we have perfect flatline. Applies weapon damage by 20% to pulse enemies. After 2 kills, applies pulse to the next enemy you hit. Now we have crit chance, we have the link laser pointer, we have 20 rounds, and critical hit chance muzzle. So ideally, crit chance on everything you can, and then you need that link laser pointer. And then the Scorpio is probably what you saw. Just use that, and that will, it's gonna disorient them, so it's gonna keep them like a little dizzy for a second. You shock him, he's gonna stay in place, and then hopefully you can just damage him enough, right? That even with only 3 expertise on this, which most of you guys can have higher ones, it's gonna do what it needs to do. So yeah, the Scorpio right there will be something that I believe a lot of you guys will find helps so much more. But yeah, that is the build, the Heartbreaker build, Coyote Mask, Grupo, and this should help you really clear that solo. Now remember, this is my PC account, so it is only 1,000 shade level. So that's what's actually really good about it, right? It's a really cool way for you guys to see that you don't have to have crazy amount of expertise on your weapons, on your gear sets. I have no expertise on any of my pieces, and still be able to beat this like content that's a little bit harder than normal, you know. So on heroic, you guys should be able to knock this one out. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Hopefully this video helped you guys out, and let me know what you guys think about the new outfit we get. I actually think it looks pretty cool with this set right here. Definitely one of my favorites for now, but we're gonna wrap it up here. Hey, appreciate nothing but skills out.